We are back on the sideline and a special guest, one of the hardest working women in Cincinnati. You can see her over on Game Day Communications, CEO of Game Day Communications, Jackie Reau. How are you doing, Jackie?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I want to get to it because I know when you work in sporting events in 2020 and even early into 2021 right now, it's been crazy. Everyone obviously is dealing with the pandemic, but what's that been like for you?
In 2020 and what now, the first 2 months, I've never worked harder in my life. I've never worked harder in my career just to help our clients, find a new way, find a new path, find a new normal. So it's been really gratifying. We were so fortunate to work on so many great events that you might know, from the Flying Pig to Taste of Cincinnati, Oktoberfest Cincinnati, Western. So it's just been, moving ahead and trying to do the best of what you can do.
And Jackie, I'm going to jump in here real quick. For those that maybe aren't familiar with Game Day Communications, you want to give us a little insight on what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. So we're a media and marketing agency. We're based downtown over at Longworth Hall. And Betsy Ross and myself started the company almost 20 years ago, so 2002.
Okay, wow, it's been a long time.
I know it has.
We love Betsy. We've had her on the sidelines with us a few times.
So getting back to, she loves coming.
She's the best. We love her. So getting back to what you were just saying, how you're saying you're busier now than you've ever been. Touch on that a little bit. It kind of surprises me because I feel like a lot of us, Lindsay and I were just having a conversation about how we miss being busier. So give us some tell us more about that.
So plan A might now be plan B, C, D, right? So there's just contingency plans upon contingency plans. And, that's what we do. So we've been helping clients kind of guide through that and navigate. And, first and foremost, you want everyone to be safe and healthy. And so, there's no need to take a risk to have an event just to have an event. So we've been really understanding, the mandates from the governor, from the different states we work in. And so just, really educating ourselves on those. I mean, I didn't even know what Zoom was a year ago today, right? So now I live my life on it. And, it's been very gratifying, I would say, the last year, just, learning new things, just trying to find the silver lining every day that you can.
I want to go back just a little bit because you said Game Day Communication started in 2002. And I think one of my favorite things, it could be a company, a sports team of just day one of when you think about it. So it obviously launched and started in 2002, but go back a little bit to when you said, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be great for the city of Cincinnati and also just branching out to other cities and doing different events and sporting events.
Sure. I mean, every business plan starts with a cocktail napkin, doesn't it? And so when I turned 30 a few years ago, now I'm just giving my age away, I said, I love living in Cincinnati, but I want to do sports media. And so I looked at the Reds, I looked at the Bengals, and I said, those are great jobs. Those guys are going to die in their chairs. And as you know, Rob is still there and Jack just retired. So thank God Betsy and I were out to dinner when she was coming back and forth from ESPN, and we were just chatting and said, there's a lot of great agencies in town, but nobody really is specializing in sports. And so it took us about a year or so to really put the business plan together. And I would say, have the chutzpah to go do it. And so it was July 1st, 2002 when we were incorporated. And it was, I think, August or early September, we signed the Flying Pig Marathon as our first client.
Wow. What was your we've made it moment? Was there an event that you signed on to or that you picked up that you were like, wow, this is it. This is what we've been working towards?
Oh, I don't even know if there is one yet. Every day I get up hustling. Every day I jump out of bed because I love what I do. I love our clients. I love our team. But I would have to say probably working on the Major League Baseball All-Star game in Cincinnati.
Oh, that was huge. That was a big one.
Amazing. I mean, even if you didn't go to the game, you didn't go to the home run derby, you were affected somehow because it was just so great. The Reds did such an amazing job in hosting that. And I think they've set the bar so high that I don't know that any city will ever achieve what we did. But that was pretty special.
I will say I was I'll never forget this. I was a traffic reporter at the time. So I had about a 5 a.m. call time That was my only time in my career where I showed up late to work because I was out so late the night before partying. I mean, that whole week I was out I was with you, Lindsay. I think there was a few times you and I bopped around downtown. There was so much to do. I had so much fun. And that was the only time ever in my radio career that I was late, late to report traffic. That was pretty embarrassing, but it was an epic.
That home run derby was magical. That is the only
thing.
Getting chills saying it. It was magical. And I miss Todd Frazier every day.
We do. What a great guy. What a great guy. I still follow him on Instagram. Looks like he and Jackie, actually, his wife Jackie, they have a beautiful family and looks like they're doing well. So, yeah.
I think going back to the All-Star game, because obviously you've been to plenty of events in Cincinnati, and then you look around for different cities when it's World Cup, Super Bowl, or other huge events. And some people may say, Cincinnati, they'll never get the chance to do that. I think just the All-Star game alone shows Cincinnati can do that, because I feel like Indianapolis is an underrated city that did a wonderful job hosting the Super Bowl years ago. Do you feel that way too with other big events, that even though, we don't have a dome here right now, there's still plenty of opportunities for future sporting events?
We are such a great city. We are so collaborative. And, Cincinnati is still on that short list to host the World Cup 2026. And we're one of 17 US cities. They're saying maybe they'll get down to 10. And so we are working behind the scenes every day just to share our story with decision makers. And I will tell you, everyone who needs to be at the table is at the table. And they're doing this as volunteers. And I'm just so pleasantly surprised and happy with how our bid has come along. And it really starts with the leadership with FC Cincinnati and the fan base that they have galvanized so quickly is just remarkable. And so, we are really emerging as that great soccer city. And oh, by the way, we're about an 8-hour drive from, 60% of the US population. So we're really easy to get to. And so we're going to continue to tell that story all day long.
So do you have, do you know of any big plans yet for the big grand opening of the stadium?
For FC Cincinnati, no, but I can't wait to get in there. We've been a season ticket holder since the beginning. I just love going to the games. I love the atmosphere. It's so much fun. And admittedly, I wasn't the biggest soccer fan before, MLS came to town, but now I love sitting up a little higher and just watching the whole strategy. It's like a chess match. It's really fascinating.
It really is. No, I totally agree with that.
It's crazy to think and even go back to 2016, because everybody knows obviously the FC Cincinnati story, but to think, and I will remember this, when they're like, we're putting a soccer team together and you want to be the sideline reporter. And I remember saying yes and thinking, this will be cool. It'll be a great experience, and just, put some tape together and do some other jobs. And just seeing 13,000 people for that opening, I thought that was cool. Little did we know, just weeks and months later, there would be 33 to 35,000 at Nippert Stadium. So it's great. And as you mentioned, it's good for future events, what we can put on in the city. And obviously it puts Cincinnati on the map with the fan base who they felt a lot of heartbreak with sporting events. So it's been really cool to see.
It really has. Yeah, they've done a tremendous job.
And what do you feel like has been the biggest, we kind of touched on this earlier. You said you've been pretty busy. Things have been great. What has been the biggest adjustment for you since the start of COVID-19? Because it's been a big shift for a lot of us.
Working from home.
Yes.
It's, I love our team. I love, the energy of our office. I'm there every morning. And so that's just been really, different. I mean, it's not good. It's not bad. I think it's just different. Maybe it's made us a little more productive. I'm sure of that. But I would say, March, we were all just stunned. Oh my goodness. And then April, I just said, well, let's go. We've got to help people pivot, which I hate that word. It should be out of our vocabulary forever.
Yeah. And
just try to, keep business on the books. And so we did. I'm very proud of our team at Game Day, of just how they pivoted and how they the creativity and the entrepreneurialism on behalf of our clients and of course our company.
Well, what do you think of the social media side of it? Because obviously social media just keeps growing. There's a new app all the time. And I'll admit, I'm not good at TikTok. Do I get on it on occasion? Maybe sometimes, but I'll never post on it. Obviously, you have Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. What do you think about it? And how has it really helped Game Day communications?
Yeah, I love social media. I have to say that, right, because we are a communications firm, and for me, properly used, it creates such a good community. There's the other end of social media, which I don't like. I don't like the negativity that it might bring. I like the empowerment of it. I like the sharing of factual information. I like the timeliness of it. I love the creativity. I mean, these TikTokers, I just love them. I think they're fascinating. And so, it is what it is. I'm going to admit, I got on the Clubhouse application list yesterday.
There we go.
More to come.
More to come. Which I'm kind of curious too, is there, what's your favorite social media platform for game day promotions? Where do you feel, or communication, sorry. Where do you feel is the best?
I would say, for me, probably Facebook groups, because I'm thinking of the Flying Pig. So Flying Pig runners and walkers are a little older, and so they're on Facebook. So we can reach them really quickly there. But like a Western and Southern Open, we have such an amazing photography crew that I love sharing those images on Instagram. So I think it kind of depends on where you're going with the visuals and who the audience is.
I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know you've worked different events. You've been around a lot of cool people. You like to travel, and I'm really jealous of the places, obviously, when it's safe where you get to go. But who's the coolest person that you've ever met?
Oh, all day long, Roger Federer.
Oh, really? So is he as nice
real deal? He is the real deal. He's the consummate professional. He is just so polite, so nice. Just what an ambassador for the game. I remember I was working at the tennis tournament. He was in the finals, so which is basically every year. And so I don't know, maybe this was 3 or 4 years ago. And I was working with the TV stations who were doing live shots, at the tennis center. So they get there around 4:30 a.m. or so. And, we do the morning news and promote the finals. And, of course, it's sold out. There's not a ticket to be had on the open market. So, it's like, I don't know, the sun's coming up at 6 a.m. or something. And I see these, it was like 8 or 10 women with Swiss flags, Roger Federer gear all over. And they're waiting to get into the stands, which don't open until 8. And I just started talking, literally we're talking in between the gate. And they met years ago at the French Open when Roger was playing. They're all huge Roger Federer fans. And so now they go to a tournament every year. So one lady was from Paris, most were from the US, there was a Canadian. It was just so cool that they came to see him. And the reason they came so early is they knew his practice schedule from the website. So they knew he was practicing at 8 a.m. on center court. So then I'm with the media and I go over to center court and there they are. And he literally says, "Oh, hi guys." And he's talking to them for like 10 minutes, like he's their family. And I was just, I'm getting the story. It was just the best. It was the best. It's how you want a superstar athlete to be.
Well, speaking of the tennis event that's in Mason, I know obviously the pandemic played a role last year, but how cool is that event when it comes to Cincinnati in August?
It's amazing. It's so amazing that we have that event. I mean, the tennis players are top notch. I mean, the world's tennis stage is here in Mason, Ohio. And then what I love is they're so accessible. They get off the practice court, they're signing autographs for 20 minutes, they're signing when they come and go to their player lounge and their locker rooms. And they're so much fun. They really are.
Okay, so I kind of, and if you're not comfortable, you don't have to answer, but I want to know which famous person have you met that you were not fond of? I get asked this question all the time working in radio.
That's a hard, nothing's coming to the tip. I'm not just being politically correct. I'm trying to think. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I really can't say because, it's one of those things where I always say to myself, act like you've been there before, right? Yeah. Be crazy fangirl.
Yeah.
So, the one thing when we, this is why I'm thinking this, just how crazy fans are. and this isn't a negative story, it's actually very positive, but when we were doing the All-Star game, I had to take George Foster from his signing area to a media interview. And he was running late because he was signing way too many autographs as he should, because he's that kind of guy. He's a great guy. And so I said, well, George, we're going to have to kind of cut through this area. We're going to be in the public area. Usually you kind of go behind the scene. And I said, we're going to be out and we're going to be exposed for a couple minutes and to get you where you need to go. Oh my goodness. I think it took me 45 minutes to get him, 45 feet, one of those types of deals. But you just see the power of these icons like a George or, Johnny Bench, and that we love, and we grew up with them.
For sure. So what's up next for you guys? Do you have any big, giant events coming up that you're excited about, that you're just up all night working on?
God, I hope so. No, we
we hope so for you.
Yeah, we all hope so, don't we?
Yes.
So last January, I was all optimistic of the new decade, the new year, and I teach at Xavier and UC, and I said, okay, I'm going to start thinking about, what's next for my students and kind of put some thoughts together. And I said, oh my gosh, there's $3 billion new industries to watch in the world of sports. And I penned this opinion piece, this op-ed for the Cincinnati Business Courier. And I said, esports, which clearly is $1 billion plus. And I mean, talk about the winner of the pandemic was gaming, legalized sports betting, and North America hosting World Cup 2026. So 3 new $1 billion industries really coming to not only Cincinnati, but North America. And so I've really been focusing on those 3 in addition to my other job. And legalized sports gambling, I believe we will see it in Ohio this year. I really do. It's a no-brainer, especially with budget shortfalls, but it's also a no-brainer just for fan engagement. And done properly with a proper lens over the integrity of sport and, safely betting, not just the bettor, but the teams and those playing. So I've been studying legalized sports gambling. I got my master's certificate from sports gambling education from Ohio University. And so I've been advising some clients there. And then World Cup, we're still working on that bid, and that's coming along really well. And then esports, we, like I said, we do 30 to 40 events a year, and we didn't have any events last year. So I didn't want to lose our crew. So I shifted their focus to esports. And basically we've got an esport team now. We're advising clients on how to get into esports and really use it as a new marketing channel to reach this highly desirable audience.
You never stop. You're always doing something different. And I love it. I agree with the legalized sports gambling. I really hope it comes to Ohio soon. It needs to. You look around the United States and it only helps a lot of different states in North America. So I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed. I think that would be a great thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
21 states have legalized it. So, you look at New Jersey, you look at Illinois, Michigan just really came online. It's Indiana. It's around us. So it's time to go, Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my brothers-in-law and my dad love going over to Indiana and placing their bets. But it really is like beyond how much it could help the economy and so many other things. But it's such a camaraderie. They have the best time. They meet people up there. This guy was a fan, and they sit and they obviously now it's different. Nobody's up there all day long having a blast like times in the past, but they have the best time going up there and talking about sports with people they've met and hanging out. It's a camaraderie thing. I think
really
it's definitely, yeah.
It really is, you're right.
One of my favorite things is hearing from people who have obviously been in this business, communications, marketing, PR, broadcasting, is I think you think of college students, you think of people in high school, and they always want to get advice from people who are experienced in this business. If you could give one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I would say, follow your passion. I would say, both of you are doing it. All 3 of us are doing it. Find out what makes you jump out of bed at 7 a.m. on a Saturday and find out how to make money doing that. Right? So if you're going to be working 12, 16 hours a day, you better love it. and you better figure out how to, pay the bills around it. So for me, it's always been sports. I'm a huge sports fan. And, when I turned 30, I said, okay, how do I make money doing this? But still staying in Cincinnati because I love living here. So, so far so good, knock on wood.
You said a huge sports fan. Do you think Joe Burrow is going to be able to win a playoff game, bring a Super Bowl to Cincinnati?
Absolutely. I love that kid. I want us to take the entire Ohio State offensive line and insert them in Paul Brown Stadium. He's fun to watch. I mean, he's the real deal too. I went to Ohio University, so when he made his Heisman speech, and put that spotlight right on Ohio University and the surrounding area in Athens and the food bank there. I mean, wow, and amazing for him to use his platform. So I mean, the people he surrounds himself, his family, of course, are class act. So yeah, I think I love the videos that he posts of doing his physical therapy, and I think it's great.
Jackie Reau, one of the hardest working women in Cincinnati. Where can fans find you on social media?
Jackie Reau, so crazy last name spelling, Reau. So it's just Jackie Reau. I use LinkedIn, I use Instagram as JReau, Facebook, and then I'm weaning myself back on Twitter. I had to take a little break.
We all do. We all do at times.
We all need to every now and then.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on the sidelines with us. It was so great to, too, I want to ask, I get your emails all the time. Can people subscribe to those?
Yeah. So we started an email called Cincy People. So Cincinnati People. Just go to cincypeople.com. And if anyone has any stories they'd like to see, we use that as a platform to promote all things great Cincinnati. So we'll definitely post this podcast on there as well and share that as well.
Oh, well, great. And it is. All of your stuff is great. You have great content on there. I use it when I'm on the air. So thank you so much. So we'll have all those links. We'll have everything linked to this podcast. So thank you so much, Jackie. It was so great seeing you. And
thank you.
Bring back sports. We're ready for it. We miss it.
All right. Take care.